You can often tell a lot about someone by their parents. A stunningly gorgeous, genius mother and a handsome, tall, and sharp man yielded the beauty that is myself. Both Caucasian, obviously. A surgeon and a journalist, respectively. Having rich parents and even richer genes gave me a head start, and oh, how I took advantage of it. By high school, most of the other girls hated me, but I loved it. I loved how they would talk behind my back and give me their dirty looks as I walked down the halls of my school, envious of how I developed. Some escaping to the nearest bathroom to fix up their makeup or hair in an effort to form some inauthentic layer of security after my perfection stole it from them. Oh, but I adored how the boys looked at me. The sweat I felt steaming from their palms as I passed them my books, the feeling of their eyes locked on me as they trailed me to all of my classes. Back then, I was the great white, shattering schools of pubescent girls into shards of insecurity and attracting the desperate bottom feeders to cling to my underside and clean my messes. But, alas, those were my glory days. And as time passed, it took away my flawless skin, my perky breasts, even my confidence. Because time takes. When I was a child, I remember watching my father stare into my mother's eyes, and how I longed to be looked at with that kind of passion. His eyes were deep, and his gaze delivered a message far deeper than the "let me inside of you" the boys at school looked at me with. That is how this began, because time takes, and because my father was in love. My mother has always searched for some sort of fault in me, her heart full of jealousy towards the perfection that I'm sure she couldn't believe she had created. When I couldn't sleep at night, it was because of my sleep apnea. "Here's your prescription." When I didn't get my homework done, it was my ADD. "Here, darling, your prescription." When I cried and acted out in an adolescent's attempt to get my way, it was because of my depression. "Here, my lovely, your prescription." Just because you enjoy drugs, mother, doesn't mean I do as well. That is how this truly began. Because time takes, my father was in love, and my mother was a drug addict. Though I don't take as much of an affliction to prescription drugs as my mother, I do enjoy my alcohol. There are many bars that I regular. I used to count on being the main event, being the woman wearing an annoyed mask over the giddiness she feels of every man taking his shot at you, having drank to my heart's content and not spent a dime. But time takes, and now I sit alone, loathing at the pretty girls with the same expression that the ugly girls at school gave me, and I'm sure that they feel the same satisfaction I once felt. I was sick of giving them that satisfaction. So one morning, as I pulled at my skin and applied my makeup in the mirror, more unsatisfied with myself than I was the morning before, I came up with an idea. A brilliant idea. It wasn't hard to fake a panic attack around my mother. I'm sure she felt awarded a snide satisfaction that I still needed her. It wasn't hard to convince her to increase the dosage of the Xanax she prescribes me. And it wasn't hard to fall into obscurity at my bar, as I had on many nights prior. And she didn't make it hard, the beautiful bitch, to empty the contents of well over a healthy dose into her drink, as she pretended to be annoyed by a beautiful blonde man offering to buy her another round. As I walked out of the bar that night, it was very hard not to burst out with laughter, as I told people passing on the streets that she had too much to drink, that I was the concerned mother making sure my daughter got home safe. And the look I got the next morning, as my beautiful slave bitch awakes next to me, is one much more satisfying than any look my father could ever give my mother. Nights came and went, and I would continue to be a concerned mother. Sometimes an angry aunt with a stupid, irresponsible niece, sometimes even a frantic grandmother with a party-loving granddaughter. And the girls would never tell. My slave bitches would fall into the same obscurity that I was once in, when I was prey to their beauty. But now, I am the predator. And as I write this, I look upon last night's prey, waiting for her eyes to open, for her to look at me with eyes screaming their message of please and why, for her to realize that after this one night stand, she will not be leaving, because time takes, and last night time took her.